What's going on, good people? Happy Monday. It's your boy Iceberg here. It's a Labor Day here in the United States. So if you're in the US, it may be a day off of work for you. If you are off of your normal job, take out this opportunity to do some work for yourself. You be working a day anyways. You might as well put in those 8 hours or however many hours you work doing some work for you and your family, right? Plant yourself a garden, do something to build for your family. If your kids are out of school today, it's a perfect opportunity to teach them some of the things that you know they're not learning in those schools. Where else are they going to learn how to plant a garden or build some of the things that they want to build? Some of these things that's going to help them in the future whenever they get older and become adults. Some of the things they're going to be so happy that you taught them, because all of their friends are not learning that stuff unless they are doing just like you were doing and taking the time to teach them those things that you know they're not getting in school. We know for a fact they're not getting a whole lot of stuff in school. They took all of that stuff out of school. Heck, some of the stuff wasn't even in school when we were in school. And for me, it's 25 years ago that I graduated high school, and they didn't teach us some of the things that we need to know today that I wish they would have taught us. I mean, I wish they would have had gardening classes at my school. I didn't go to school in a rural area, so we didn't have like 4-H club and stuff like that. We had, a lot of clubs and things that I didn't participate in as many of them as I should have. But we didn't have as many of the, like FFA, Future Farmers of America. We didn't have clubs like that because we didn't have farmland near our school. It was in a city, so we didn't have those options as much readily available, let's say. And if your kids don't have that option, but you can plant a garden right there in your city area, you got to get them out there to that garden. There's probably already a community garden going on. Take them out there, let them get the interest, get around some people, you be there as well, get around some people who know some things about the plants, about gardening, learn from them, and then you take that stuff back home and you start trying it at home in a container, or if you have a backyard, you can go ahead and do it right there in the ground. You have whatever options are available to you, but saying that you don't have something, that's not an excuse that's available, because even if you don't have sunlight, you can use a grow light to make this happen. We have water, unless you're in one of those places where water is becoming an issue. What we're talking about over here, self-sustainability. You got to get yourself a well. You got to get yourself a good water source. You got to be able to have a good food source, because just like the water's drying up in places, when the water dries up, that means the ability to provide for the food dries up. So you have to be able to provide your own food, because in those places where they're having these water shortages, I'm sure they grow some kind of crops. So what's going to follow is a season of crops that are either underdeveloped or they're not able to produce as many, or whatever the case may be, because they don't have as much water available. Now, I know sometimes they make special restrictions for farmers and stuff like that, but it's still going to have an impact, because that farmer relies on this rain the same way that all the rest of us do. So in a drought, that farmer, unless he's growing something that is an extremely drought resistant crop, that drought is going to harm his plants, going to harm the ability for those plants to produce. So you got to pay attention to what's going on around you. The climate is changing. I'm not saying everybody has to go, jumping out of the window with all these bright ideas trying to reverse what they're doing. You could pay a little more attention to your environment. Planting more plants actually helps the environment. It helps to recycle the air. It helps to clean the air. Having more plants in your house helps to clean the air in your house. You know how you have your air filters? Ears does the HVAC work, and we got to change our filters, right? After he installs all those ducts and everything, and then they hook your unit up, and it starts pushing the air through those systems. Those ducts that he's hooking up, he's telling you about your returns and exchanges and stuff like that. Well, there's a place on there where you have to change your filter. If you don't change your filter, that means your house is recycling bad air. So what you have to do is change your filter so it can actually be cleaning the air. The filter's catching the dirt that's floating through your air. It sticks in the filter, and the clean air keeps going through your system. Well, having more plants in your house also helps with that process. Plants help clean the air. So if you have more plants in your house, more plants in your yard, that means the little dome or ecosystem that you're creating in your area is going to be healthier air. You can create your own environment. You can create your own ecosystem. If you get far enough away from people, you can really create your own dome and environment with the whole tall canopy of trees, and you could be in your own little rainforest almost. You can create that right here in the States. You just have to be willing to put in the action to do it. Take the time and the action to do it. That's all you have to do. But it requires you. You can't wait on anybody else. The government's not going to come through and do it for you. They're not going to come through and save you. So today in the States, I don't know what the deal is in other countries, but here in the United States, it's Labor Day. It's a holiday. That means a lot of people are off. That means schools are probably closed, all that good stuff. That means everybody is available to put their hands in some dirt. Do it with your kids. Your kids will enjoy it. Some of your older kids may not appreciate it right this second, but they will appreciate it if you force them to do it right now. They will appreciate it in a few years when they become adults and they start having a family of their own, and they're like, dang, I need to cut down on my grocery bill. That's right, mom and dad, they showed us how to grow stuff. I hated doing it, but I know how to do it. That's the thing. And they'll go out and get the stuff and do it. Boom. They start in their own garden. And then you still gonna have your garden, of course. They're gonna be calling you for help because you already know how to do it. Hey, mom, hey, dad, how do I do that? What do I need to do? All right, boom, I'm growing my garden over here. You growing your garden over there. Hey, I got some extra cabbage. You got some peppers, you know? Boom, exchange. Y'all taking care of each other. And then once that catches on, you got multiple kids, they're all doing that. They have kids, y'all just keep that going. Boom, your whole family is feeding itself, taking care of one another. That's what we got to do. We all have to grow our gardens. We grow in abundance. We share with our family. We share with our neighbors. We exchange. I'm not saying you have to give away stuff all the time. Yes, sometimes you're going to have so much that you just want to give it away. You just want to bless somebody else. Boom, here's some beans or whatever, you know, a whole bag of beans, whatever it is. But sometimes you're going to actually need something in return. So you'll find somebody and y'all will just swap. It's called the barter system. It is more valuable than money because you're actually getting a good in exchange for a good or a service. You know, when you in the country, you know, I don't know if it happens so much anymore, but back in the day, you know, you used to tell jokes about how the mechanic, you know, you got that old country mechanic who will fix your car for a pack of cigarettes and a 6-pack of beer, something like that. You know what I'm saying? He always got the cigarette hanging off his lip. That's nothing but the bartering system. This man, he know how to fix your car. He know it ain't gonna cost him nothing but some time really to do. He probably got the parts already in there. He gonna hook you up. All he wants you to do is buy him a 6-pack of beer. He know that costs about $10. A pack of cigarettes costs however much wherever you live. So it might cost you $30 to get your car fixed, right? It's gonna cost you a whole lot more than that for a mechanic to look at it if you take it to an actual dealership or like an auto shop that's gonna charge you for real. They're gonna charge you probably $60 just to look at it. Now they'll apply that towards whatever they services they're doing, but that's double what you had to pay this man, and you didn't have to pay this man for parts. Why? Because it's the bartering system. That 6-pack of beer and that pack of cigarettes is worth more to him than a little bit of time and the parts over there that he got that he was just gonna give to somebody anyways. See what I'm saying? The bartering system. That's what you got to get back to. But you have to have something to offer in order for that to work. You know, again, salute to the homie Ears. He's talking, I think just yesterday, talking about how he's talking about the bartering system. He has services to offer. I mean, he has other things, I'm sure, as well, but his HVAC work, that's a service that is always going to be needed, especially down there where he is. He's in southern Georgia and Florida. It's hot as hell down there all the time. So he's always going to have work because there's always going to be people building houses who need new HVAC installed. I'm sure he can do the repair work. Sometimes people have to have things changed with their ducts or whatever. He can do all of that. So that's a service that he has to offer that will always be needed. Me, for example, I have a few different things I do. I can do carpentry work. I can do gardening. There's a couple different things I can do. So I have services that I can offer. Also, I have goods that I can offer because I'm growing stuff here. So that's goods and services that I have to offer. I have knowledge of a whole bunch of areas that I can actually offer services as well. What is it that you're going to have to offer that somebody needs, that somebody wants? It can't just be, I work for a job. It can't just be, I can work the register at such and such a place, or I can cook this food over here. Because the people who are growing their own food, most of them know how to cook their own food. So they're not going to need you to cook for them if we go to a place where No, let's say nobody goes to restaurants again. Say it's almost like the pandemic and everything is shut down, but it's permanent this time. Why? Because people felt no need for it anymore, because they could just grow their own stuff and cook their own stuff and share with their neighbors. What if that happened in reality? So restaurants didn't exist. So every one of you that's working at a restaurant that's like, all right, I can cook for people, or I can wait tables or work a register or whatever. What if all those jobs went away because none of us felt the need for them? All you working a register, self-checkout is here, and people order stuff online more and more. So register jobs are going away. What if nobody went to the restaurants? Let's just, like I said, just one industry. Let's just take the restaurant industry away. Say nobody went to restaurants anymore. No fast food restaurants, no sit-down restaurants. That whole industry disappeared. All of the jobs with that disappeared. What would you have to offer that is of value to your neighbor, to the people around you? What goods and or services do you have to offer? What do your kids have to offer? That's a big thing. Your kids, they're the future. They're the next generation. What are they learning? What are they learning in the schools? What are they learning at home, more importantly? Because it's ultimately your responsibility to raise them, right? Check me out later on today. I'm going to do a live stream later on today where I'm going to back up some of these claims and some of these things I've been saying in reference to education, your child's education, how it's your fault that your children are getting dumber every year. I'm going to back some of these claims up on my live stream today. I'm going to show you how to actually research it yourself as well. We're going to go through it together. I'll show you some examples, but I'm going to give you all of the information of how you can go straight to these sites yourself, how you can research it for your jurisdiction, find out what's happening in your child's school, and then what actions you can take to make the difference, because it's ultimately your responsibility. So we're going to now put the responsibility on you. You're going to take the responsibility upon yourself, and you're going to take the action necessary to make things happen. So until later on today, y'all come check me out whenever I do that. I'll set it up, give you, probably a good hour's notice or something like that. But until later, this is Iceberg. Salute.